All right, so gather around, my friends, for I'm about to tell you a tale of a magical, mystical, and downright awesome power of groups. So imagine this, you're not just a lone ranger in the vast wilderness of life. You're not an island, but you're surrounded by a band of merry souls who've really just got your back. First off, let's talk about the vibes. Have you ever noticed how being in the right group can boost your mood faster than a triple shot of espresso? It can be like a mini festival of positivity, and we can really support each other. And when you're with others who get you, who really support you, and maybe even share your quirky sense of humor, suddenly the weight of the world feels a little bit lighter. And then there's the healing part. It's not just about hugs and high fives, although those are super awesome too, but it's really about feeling understood and accepted. And whether you're going through a rough patch or celebrating a victory, having this like cheering squad can make all the difference. It's like having your personal cheerleaders, but cooler because they've seen you in pajamas dancing to 80s hits. But there's also more than that. In a group, you've got this collective wisdom thing going on. It's like having your own little brain trust at your disposal. Someone who's been through what you're going through and kind of lived to tell the tale. They've got advice, they've got insights, and maybe even a killer recipe for chocolate chip cookies. Plus, we're bouncing ideas off of each other, and when you're doing that, like I always say two brains are better than one. And when you're bouncing ideas off of each other and brainstorming, a lot of times genius strikes faster than lightning. And let's not forget about the power of shared experiences. Whether you're laughing till your sides hurt or shedding a tear together, whether they're happy or sad ones. These moments really bond you together, and it's kind of like this super glue that holds you together with another person. And it's like creating your own little universe where everyone kind of speaks the same language, of empathy, of laughter, and occasionally even some interpretive dance. But these are all the healing components that you can find in holotropic breathwork circles. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first started holotropic breathwork, there were breathwork sessions when I would literally hide under my blanket. I was struggling with PTSD, and I was struggling to trust people. And of course, I'm sure some of you have felt this desire to want to come inward and isolate and push the world out. Um, and I really just didn't feel safe coming out of my little bubble. In this case, under my blanket. And my blanket was kind of a clear boundary. I don't want to be touched. I don't want to engage. I don't want anything outside of myself in my little bubble. And what I loved is that was respected. No one was trying to force me out of my cocoon. But they were there waiting with so much love and understanding when I finally did emerge. And in holotropic breath work, you always pair with a breathwork partner, and it's what we call a sitter. And the sitter is there for logistical stuff like handing you tissues or water and making sure you get to the bathroom okay. But more importantly, they're really there to be your sacred witness. They hold this space with love and care so that you are able to have your process, whatever that may look like. It's someone sitting there saying, I see you and I love you. And if you need me, I'm here to hold you. Um, and in my later sessions, once I came out of my little cocoon, I felt safe enough to come out, and I would ask for my sitter to hold my hand at times, and I would ask for them to hug me at the end. But again, being honest, I didn't really feel much at first. I still felt a bit numb and closed off, still a little bit in shock from my traumas. But one thing that I knew for absolute certainty was that my eyes could see the love in their eyes, and I could hear like the words of love and understanding and encouragement, being spoken in the circles, and I could hear myself in the stories that they were telling, and I there was this part of me that really longed to have what they seemed to have found through holotropic breath work. And thankfully, I made a promise to myself. And I told myself, okay, like I see the love in this room, even if I can't feel it yet. And so I'm going to keep showing up until I can feel that love in my body, and until I have healed my wounds. Um, and that's what I did. I showed up, and again, I could see it, I could hear it, couldn't quite feel it until one day it was like something shifted, and I could feel the love in my body, from the people that I had seen. You start to grow a community, you start to see, the same faces. Um, and as I processed my layers of trauma and kept showing up to the breathwork circle, there finally came this day, when not only I could feel the love, but I really felt safe enough, to allow myself to be held while I cried. And I cried those like deeply held tears that expressed just how much anger and sadness I felt about my traumas. And I was able to release some of that shock and some of that trauma from my body. And while I cried, I was held by one of the facilitators, and my sitter, held my hand. So I had like my little team there, and this was one of the most healing steps on my journey. Um, Largely because when my traumas happened and when I reached out for help, I wasn't met with love and understanding. I got quite the opposite of that. I was in the military at the time, and even the military therapists seemed to be telling me that there was something wrong with me, which really just re traumatized my system and really reinforced this wound. And in that moment of being held by a breathwork facilitator, I was able to heal that wound and to know that there were people that would be there when I reached out. Um, and if we could only realize how much healing can be had just by being held when we cry. And I don't necessarily mean physically held, but held by the container. Even if you're just looking around and you're seeing the love, you're hearing the love, that's still holding you in the container. And I'm a therapist, and I understand that there are professional boundaries that therapists are bound by, and for very good reasons. But this is why I'm also a holotropic breathwork facilitator, so that I can really hold people when they need to be held. And this ability to offer what a person needs, to heal, really nourishes me, and he continues to heal me as much as it does the person being held. And to me, this is what it truly means to be in community, is that I know that when I need you, that you show up. um and this is why I still show up to holotropic breathwork circles, because who can't use an extra infusion of love and support? And sometimes I'm the glowing example of what it looks like to be healed. I dance in the joy and the pure bliss that shows up once I start to breathe. And sometimes I'm a sobbing mess, and I'm going through whatever is alive in my life at the time. And what I really love and appreciate is that both of those are accepted, and both of those are welcomed. And this is what I really love and appreciate about these holotropic breathwork circles, is that no matter what shows up, it's loved and accepted. And I'm told to just show up as I am. There are no expectations, no prescriptions for how I'm supposed to do it. Only love. And this is the healing power that can be found in the right group. And of course, we've all been in the wrong groups, but in the right groups, like this is the what can be found, and the healing that can be found. And another aspect that I found extremely healing in holotropic breathwork was the concept of the inner healer. And it sounds pretty basic, and maybe you've heard that word tossed around in other circles, but it's really deeper and more healing than what it sounds. And that's why the inner healer is going to be the topic of my next video. So I hope that you can join me for that. But if you'd like to join me in a holotropic breathwork circle to kind of see and hear and experience this love and this safety and this being held that I'm talking about, we are hosting a retreat. It's going to be the 12th through the 18th of August in Tazewell, Tennessee. And I am super excited because, like I said, these are just as nurturing for me. And it's going to be this filled and healing week. We're going to start each morning with Kundalini Yoga. We're going to do some somatic experiencing exercise to really get into our bodies. And then we're going to do holotropic breath work every day. And there are a few fun surprises, but I'm gonna leave those for the imagination, and so that it can be a surprise. But if you'd like to know more about the retreat, go to the website at wellbeingretreatcenter.org, and it'll be /Kim Lee. Take a look up at the link that hopefully is showing up to my left, for the websites, but they're also down in the notes. And you can find out more details there. You can register there. And I'm really hoping that you do join us because, I know sometimes we don't really make enough space for ourselves. And sometimes when we're struggling, we just have this tendency to isolate. But the love and the support and the acceptance that lives in these circles, and again, I will say the right circles, because even holotropic breathwork circles are dependent on who's holding the space. And so if you are resonating with my energy and you say, okay, this is someone I feel like I've connected with even on a basic level, then check it out. And if you'd like to know when the next video is going to get posted, of course, hit the subscribe button. There's also a subscribe link down in the notes, and share the video with anyone that you think might benefit from learning about how to deal with their trauma. We're all in this together, and this is how we create community. This is how we go against the stigma that sometimes shows up, the shame that sometimes shows up when we're struggling. And so this is how we really start to build that community. And if you'd like more resources, or just to check out some of the other things that I'm offering, you can go to my website at ourworldempowered.com. And again, hopefully that link is up to the left of my head right now. And you can just click on that and it'll have all of the websites. But until next time, I am sending you so much love, and I really hope that you're creating a fully embodied and sensual life. And until next time, bye for now.